Hey, so in this video, I want to go over what makes a great offer, not from my perspective, but from a homeowner, from somebody that may be thinking about taking a cash offer, someone that may be thinking about selling a house, especially in this economy. What makes a great offer, especially if you just inherit a property? We specialize in probate, working with the courts, working with the attorneys locally here in Dallas Fort Worth, and working with family members that are going through the probate process. And I want to go over in this video what it takes to actually get to closing. What makes a great offer? So here we go. What inspired this video today is I was working with a recent home seller, somebody that inherited a property in Dallas, Texas, and they were looking at offers. Offered our services of being their broker to help them distinguish what offer would be the best offer to accept. So, because they didn't really have any experience in they rented their whole life, so they had no idea how to accept an offer, how a contract works, how to get to closing, all that stuff in between you accepting an offer and getting to closing. So the offer that was written, there actually was three. There was three offers. One offer was a cash offer. It was $15,000 above anybody else's, but the offer came with financing terms. It came with conditions of cleaning out the property. It came with all kinds of red flags, and we couldn't even locate any kind of social media or any kind of online presence of this buyer. So they met the person online. They never had a walk through the property, and then they submitted the highest and best offer that was 15,000. Those offers I would probably stay away from. The offers that you're looking for is probably not necessarily someone local, but somebody that could come and meet you and shake your hand, and you could really read their intentions in front of you. So what we did, we had a open house, and we got the two other offers in, and one offer was actually lower, but it was a cash offer with no terms, no closing costs, but it was just the sweet spot of what the sellers want to accept and get to closing. So the first offer was higher and had a bunch of terms, conditions. The offer they actually accepted was lower by $15,000, but it was clean and clear, and we could tell who the buyer was online. And that's important. You want to make sure if you're going to sign a contract with somebody, make sure that you can meet them, you could handshake, and you could read their intentions in person. So to avoid any mistakes or any delays, if you're a home seller or if you inherit a property here in Dallas Fort Worth, you want to consider five things when you're looking at a buyer contract to accept. Somebody that's coming to your house, you don't know, you don't trust them, or you're working with somebody online. The five things that you want to consider is proof of funds. You want to make sure that you could prove where their money's coming from. Either it's cash in their bank account, it's a hard money lender that you could call directly and talk to, because it's usually someone privately lending the money to the investor or the buyer, or some type of broker lender that gave them a pre-approval letter that you could verify the funds before you sign a contract. Very important step. The next thing is look on page 2 of the contract. If it's not a napkin contract or a contract they came up with out of the blue, if they're working with a TREC agreement, the contracts are free online. So most people that buy houses in Dallas Fort Worth use the TREC agreement, most cases. So it's a 11-page document. On page 2, I believe at the top, is that earnest money and option money. Earnest money is not that important these days as it used to be, but the option money for them to terminate is. And that's the number. When I'm accepting an offer, I want to make sure that it's $250 a day that they're going to take my house off the market. So if you're going to accept an offer and you're not really on the market, but you're going to accept their offer, you're going to be off the market as they go to closing and to purchase your house. So you need to collect as much option fee, earnest money as you possibly can, so it doesn't waste your time and you still make some money if they back out. The third thing that I come to mind is the flexible closing schedule. Most buyers, investors will give you a lease back. So if you have a family member or you got items in the house that you need to come to Texas and get from that house, work with your investor. It's super important that in the process of closing, you could either come down and do that, or you close, you get your funds, and then you do a temporary lease back. It's included in the offer, and you have time to get any items of the house that you want. That's up to you. You're the homeowner, you inherit the property, you decide the timeline. And most times when we're making an offer, we're going to give you up to 21 days of the lease back. to make you feel comfortable with our offer. Now, if you're going through probate and you have a inherited property and you just got letters of testamentary, but if you're thinking about doing this early, accepting offers early, which you can, you want to make sure that you have a buyer that understands the delay of the courts, because some buyers want to hurry up and close, and they can make it close fast. But if the court is delaying it, make sure that they understand the timeline. So if you don't have letters of testamentary yet, let's say you're in Tarrant County, you probably have anywhere from 30 days to 4 months before the court issues you the authority to actually close on the property. So they got to make sure that they understand that. In Dallas County, if there's any title issues or adopted kids or any kind of issues that you run into, it could be up to 10 months to get letters of testamentary. So if you're trying to sell the house prior, get a buyer locked in, get the house cleaned out, and want to close the day or two after you get confirmation, the buyer just needs to understand that. The next thing that comes to mind is fewer contingencies from the buyer. You want to make sure that the buyer is offering you, say it's $100,000. Make sure that you're getting that $100,000. Make sure that there's no contingencies that allow the buyer to back out based on if they can't give you that cash. They shouldn't be changing the number on you weeks after the contract, because they should have come and saw the property, walk through the property, and give you an honest offer. The last thing I want to talk about is clear communication. If there's ever a breakdown from the buyer ignoring your calls after you do a contract, there's probably something wrong with either the amount they offered you, the condition of the property, or the way that they're going to get their funds. If a buyer stops communicating with you, that's a red flag immediately. You need to get a hold of them. You need to figure out what's going on. Every buyer should be able to have a critical conversation with you if something's going south. Now, saying that, most things are pretty positive. You're dealing with usually people that can afford to buy a house, and there shouldn't be any issues. So those are 5 things that you're going to consider when accepting one of these offers privately. Or if you're working with a real estate agent, you got proof of funds, earnest money, option money. You have a closing schedule, how many days, the fewer contingencies. Are they probate savvy? And are they talking to you even after the contract is signed? So thank you. That is 5 things I want you to consider. So when you're ready to start taking offers. I just wanted to let you know, remind you, I'm a real estate broker, Dallas Fort Worth. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, licensed for 20 years. We do make offers on houses. If you're looking for a fast closing or a predictable closing with confidence, my name is Dave Pannell, and I'm willing to make you a cash offer. And if our offer is too low because of our remodel cost or some other reason of paying off solar panels, we'll help you as a real estate brokerage get more for the property, most likely, than what I could offer you. So first of all, I'd love to come and meet you. I'd love to make you a cash offer first, and then offer real estate services if we can't work out a deal. I'm all online, very transparent. I got reviews on Google, Zillow, YouTube. I got video testimonials. Anything you need to verify, proof of funds. If you're looking at taking a private offer for a house, my name is Dave Pannell, and I'd love to come out and see you and coach you through it. Thanks. Bye.